Hey. I took a little time on making this video in response to the fight last weekend, Crawford Spence and Terrence Crawford. I was shocked by it. I looked at it a couple times, but yeah, what a performance. Let's start there. Terrence Crawford definitely elevated himself to, I'd say undoubtedly the top pound-for-pound fighter in the game now. I didn't expect him to. I'm not surprised that he won in that fashion, because when a fighter like Errol is strong behind a good solid jab, they tend to do exactly what he did. And what happened was, and don't get me wrong, Crawford Spence won round one. I think most people agree that round one he won. He put the jab on him, backed him up, and did more work in that round. And was the dominant guy in that first round. But when you're, and like I said in the beginning, he's going to have to establish that jab from a shorter range if he's going to take control of this fight. And that didn't happen. He did. I think the first round he was somewhat deceptive with the jab. You can't just fire the jab. If you just fire the jab against a top fighter like at Crawford's level, he's going to time it, he's going to measure the range, and he's going to counter it, which is ultimately what happened. And what he did, what Terrence was able to do, was to force Spence to throw that shot with less and less awareness as time went on. He allowed him to get comfortable throwing the jab to where Spence just started falling into the shot. When you fall into your jab, you're very vulnerable for overhands. And it would be an overhand left from Crawford, because he stayed southpaw the whole fight. He hit him with uncountable number of straight left hands just over his jab, just right over the jab, because southpaw versus southpaw. So the jab comes, he pulls, left hand comes right over the top. And it happened over and over again, and Spence couldn't make an adjustment. That's a range adjustment that you have to make. You're falling into your jab generally when that happens, okay? So the adjustment needs to be feint, throw the jab, but you have to keep your balance when you throw it. You don't always throw the jab to land it. And I've been over this. I've experienced this on my own accord, fighting with real good pros and getting my jab picked off. So I know what's going on. I understand how it happens and why it happens. It's because you fall into this mind frame of, I have to land the jab in order to be effective. And through experience, you learn that that can be true, but at the same time, you don't have to land it right away. You have to confuse your opponent with the jab, but you don't have to land it. Okay, and what I mean by confuse him with it is confuse his timing and his range. Okay, Spence should have been putting that jab out short of the target. If he's hitting you with overhands right over your jab, you throw the punch short. You throw it short of the target on purpose to bait that overhand. And if you throw it short and you keep your balance, the overhand is going to fall short of you. So now you're playing a game of countering the counter. You counter the counter, so to speak. So he misses his overhand, he falls into your overhand. Or a hook. It could be a hook. It doesn't matter what the punch is. You can even hit him with a jab and jab your way back out and start over again. But the distance has to be right. And Spence, with his aggression, and it happens a lot with aggressive fighters, they fall into they get into a rhythm and they start falling in on punches and falling into their jab. Manny Pacquiao got knocked out falling in. He fell in on a feint when he got knocked out by Marquez. He didn't even throw a jab. Well, he threw the jab after the feint, but Marquez timed that feint, knew what he was doing, slipped his head out of the way, put the right hand out there. Man, he ran right into it and lights out. Errol, same thing. Falling in on his jab. Stepping too front foot heavy. He's way too front foot heavy, so he's falling into the shot. If he'd have kept his balance, just put the punch out there. Feint. Put the punch out there and circle back out. But your inability to move your feet, your inability to back up, leaves you with one option, and that's go forward. Against these top guys, counter punchers, okay, the best guys can counter punch, can attack, can fight in the pocket, can fight close range, can come off the block. They can do it all. And if you're one-dimensional or even only do a couple of things well, you're going to get picked apart by guys who are that good. Terrence Crawford is that good. Terrence Crawford may be the best fighter we've seen in this generation. I'm excited about his future. I think the kid could go up to middleweight and probably win a title. I mean, he's that good. He establishes his jab. He punches hard. He times guys well, and he can fight back and up. He can pull and punch, and he creates good distance. He has real quick feet going forward and going backwards. You have to be able to pull out and punch to play that game. And he does it with the best of them, probably better than anybody around right now. You know, he's more multi-dimensional than any fighter I can name right now. And that probably includes Tyson Fury. I mean, Tyson Fury's good like that too. He's the best heavyweight I've seen in a long time, if not ever. And people can go ahead and counter me on that, but you don't have much base to say I'm wrong, because look at what he's done. The guy fights behind his jab. He pulls and counters. He moves his feet. He controls the range. I mean, it's hard for me to find a round that Tyson Fury's lost. So, you know, I just say that to say this, that Crawford's probably even better than him in certain respects, of course. That guy's almost untouchable right now. Nobody's untouchable, but, you know, I really didn't expect Terrence to dominate the way he did. And hats off to the kid, man. What a talent. What a great talent. And, I mean, I hope he fights Charlo. I mean, he'll knock Charlo out whenever he wants to do it. If he wants to carry him a little bit and give the fans a show, he can do it. And then knock him out in 7 or 8. Or he could probably knock him out within the first 3 rounds if he wants to. He's that good. And Charlo's good, not great. I don't think Charlo's a great fighter. I think he conquered the division when it was weak. I still think it's weak. I think he's the only name there. I don't even think he's a big name myself. He's a big name, but he's not a big talent. He's a good talent. He's not a great talent. Terrence Crawford's great. Terrence Crawford knocks Charlo out easy and then unifies 154. So that'd be the 3rd weight division where he became undisputed champion. I think he should do it. But we're going to have to wait for Canelo to knock Charlo out first, because that's coming up in September, and that shouldn't be a hard fight for Canelo. Kid's 2 weight classes below you, and he's not a A-level talent. He's not that. So we'll see what happens, man. Hats off to Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence, as good as he is, I didn't realize he was so vulnerable to getting countered like that. And I thought he had more discipline as far as taking control with his jab. He didn't. He fell into him. Once he started getting hit, he only got more reckless and aggressive, and you know, it ultimately contributed to his demise. And you know, he can beat a lot of guys, but he can't beat Terrence Crawford. He can run that back. He'll get stopped again unless he really gains some understanding and some range awareness, distance on your jab, controlling the jab, controlling your opponent with the jab. You know, range is a big thing. You know, and I think he needs to become more of a counterpuncher to be at that top level. You gotta be firing back at these guys to keep them off you in order to compete at that level. You know, you got to be able to time him and hit him with shots that are going to slow him down, and he couldn't do it. I got that one wrong. I thought it'd be a lot closer. It wasn't close at all. That was not a close fight. Hats off to both fighters, of course, but Terrence, man, incredible talent. Let's see where he goes from here. I'm excited. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.